Computer. All right. It looks like it is recording. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening. We will be focusing on SeeSaw tonight for TK through 2nd grade students. My name is Amy Kaler and I'm the coordinator and principal for Star Academy. And with me tonight, I have a couple other people here with me. Francesca, do you want to introduce who you are?
Hi, I'm Francesca Donato. I'm the educational specialist for Star Academy.
Then I have Miss Perry.
Hi, I'm Miss Perry. I'm here just to kind of give you guys the rundown of SeeSaw when we get there.
And your job is?
I'm a 1st grade teacher.
And then we also have one of the directors here with us this evening, Laura Burial. Do you want to, I guess I kind of said your job a little.
Hi, I'm Laura Burial, Teaching and Learning Director, and I get to work with all of the academies and work with the teachers.
All right. So that you were able to see a little bit of who is here out of our staff members. So tonight, like I said, we're going to be focusing on SeeSaw. I know that in the email I had sent out, we mentioned Schoology, but we had a little bit of a shift in stuff yesterday. So for grades TK through 2nd grade, all the information that families need to know will be on SeeSaw, and that is what Miss Perry is going to walk you through tonight. So she's actually going to be sharing her screen with you in just a moment, and she's going to go ahead and walk you through everything that's on there so you can see how your kids will interact with it, but then also as a parent, what you can see in there. So Miss Perry, are you ready? And
I am.
At the end, I forgot, I should mention that again. So if you have questions, you can type them into the chat and we will get to as many of them as we can, okay? And your teachers for your child's classroom, you can also reach out to them if you have questions after this too. Okay, Miss Perry.
All right. Just like Ms. Keeler said, if you have classroom specific questions, it's best to reach out to your child's teacher. I went and touched base with TK, kindergarten, and 2nd grade. I know the gist of everything that's happening in 1st grade just because right now for me that's where I am. But I touched base with kindergarten and with 2nd grade to understand what they're pushing out and where they are with SeeSaw so that I can share the most up-to-date information. So right now I'm going to share a student's interface with you, what your child sees on SeeSaw when they sign in. And I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see. So when your child signs in, whether it's on the Chromebook or on an iPad, they see this interface. This interface is the homepage for SeeSaw. It gives them their journal. This is just a mock student, Sam, and on the left side you see Sam's journal. As Sam turns things in to his teacher and his teacher approves them, they show up in his journal feed. It will continue scrolling and you'll be able to build and build and build the whole year. So if you're curious if your child has submitted an activity to their child's teacher, to your child's teacher, this is the place you can look. And it's right here in the little journal feed. It looks like a book. It's basically like your child's scrapbook for the year right now for digital learning. The second button that's on there is activities. Notice that this child has the number 4 on it. That's because there's 4 activities waiting for this child to do. So this child is a child I've just assigned to my class. That's why it says Miss Perry's class up here in the corner. And these are all activities this child needs to complete. Once your child completes the activity, it will disappear from their activities folder and it will go to the teacher. The teacher will then review it, give comments, and then it will show up in their journal feed. So it will disappear for a short time until your child's teacher has gone over it. Sometimes this takes us 24 hours. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer depending on what they're turning in and how many activities they're turning in. So let's say that this child will just do, in order for them to turn something in, let me go back one just so you can see what I just did. They are just pushing the add response button. So the add response button is a place for them to push, and it's gonna pop up with either two things. It'll pop up with a template that your child's teacher has given them. So for my class and for first grade, we said, take a picture of your home learning space that we wanted to see where they're gonna learn at home. These little buttons on the side over here are gonna help them. There's a text tool that they can use to type and add text. So maybe they wanna add my desk. There's a microphone tool where this is really popular in TK, kinder, and first grade. They use this a lot to record their thinking or record maybe a story. They're not quite able to use the text feature yet. They're not text savvy, but they can record. They're just gonna push the record button. It's gonna say record your voice in 3, 2, 1, and then I can record whatever I'm saying. And then up here in the right-hand corner, you'll notice it says done. So it's going to record, and now it gives my teacher the opportunity to listen to what I have to say because maybe I can't type it. Also gives them the option to take a picture because they can either use their Chromebook or their iPad to take a picture or a video of some of their work. This is oftentimes what we're asking our kids to do. They're completing work with us in the classroom, but we want to make sure for auditing purposes that we have work to document that they're completing it throughout the day. This is not necessarily homework for your kids. This is documenting that they've done the work for the day. They're taking a picture of it to turn it into their teacher. So this works just like a typical camera. They just turn it and then it's going to turn on. They take a picture of their work, whatever their work is, and it's going to show up on the screen. They can move it around. They can resize it bigger or smaller. And then there's a few more features over here on the far left. The 3 dots give them shapes, backgrounds, and if they needed to, links. We haven't really gotten to that, and I talked to a second grade, they're not really using that. So backgrounds just changes the color behind the screen, and then shapes is if they need that. To turn it into their teacher, there are 2 different things they can do. They can click the draft button. This draft button that I tell my kids is like a save. It's gonna save their work, and then the green button immediately sends it to the teacher. So those are the 2 different places they can either save or they can, if you're not muted, it's, there we go. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna push the save button just so you can see where it goes when it saves it. So I'm saving my work. Maybe you as the parent want to check their work before they turn it in. That's a fine choice. If you always want to have your kids save their work in that draft, right here underneath activities, back where we were when we saw everything. Now it says I can finish my response. I wasn't quite done before. It's a great tool. I can go back and finish it. This is a great thing. If there's multiple pages for your kid to complete, saving it as a draft and letting them come back later is a great way for them to be able to do this. I'm all finished now. I'm going to turn it into my teacher. I'm going to hit the green check, and it sends it to my teacher. It says, waiting for teacher approval. It's in my journal, but it's not yet approved by my teacher. So now I only have 3 activities left. If you notice when you log in and your kids' activities are blank, that means they completed all the tasks their teacher has assigned to them. I know kindergarten, first and second are using SeeSaw a lot on Wednesdays when the teachers are in meetings. This is the place we're pushing out videos, we're pushing out activities, and we're pushing out other links for the slides for the day for your kids. So this is really the hub of their learning. Besides Zoom with their classroom teacher, this is really the hub of their learning where they really should go to get everything they need. The other thing that you can do is, I've heard from a lot of the kinder and the second grade teachers, the thing that they sound like is most troubling for parents is that they're not reading the directions. They're not reading the directions. And most of the time, the directions are not just written for the kids, but there's also a little play button. I actually just took that one away. There was, the other assignment had a play button, but the teachers are recording directions because we don't necessarily depend on parents being there. The kid can listen to the directions so that they can hear it at home without you having to be there to read them the directions. For this activity, it says click the link to watch the Scholastic News. The link is right here. So this is oftentimes where they would put a video if it was a Wednesday and we were doing some teaching and then doing an activity. So the child would click the link, they would click the play button, and it's going to start playing the video that I've created for my kids to be able to do this activity. Here's their video and their instruction before they go in and add a response. Oftentimes, they go straight into adding a response and they don't understand what they're supposed to do because they didn't watch the link. So oftentimes, if your child is missing something or you may be missing something as a parent, it's because you're missing that part of the directions or that link at the beginning. Ms. Donato, do you notice any questions in the chat before I continue going? Or Ms. Kaler?
Not at this time.
Okay, perfect. The other place that I know first and second are using a lot right now and kindergarten is figuring out is this inbox feature. This inbox feature is both on the parent end and on the child's end. If I click the inbox for the children, it shows up kind of, I tell my kids, it's kind of like me sending them an email. I can send them a message. Today I sent them Thursday slides. Here are our Thursday slides. Students will need the slide deck to find the library slide for specials at the end of the day. So this is my way of sharing my slides. It also has my video recordings for the day. Not uploaded yet, but it would be in there. And I've taught my kids, you just click the link. It's going to open one time, and then they click it again, and it will open the slides for them to be able to go through. This is a great thing for kids if they feel like they might have missed part of the day. Maybe they had a dentist appointment, or maybe they had something, maybe you had, right now we have those rolling blackouts, so maybe those rolling power outages, so maybe you missed part of it. So this is a great place for the kids to be able to click through and see what part of the day they might have missed and what the kids were doing during that part of the day. And then for my students, at the very end is when we have specials, and that's where their special slide lives. So this, again, is just in your child's inbox. It works just like an email to your child. And then it kind of is as a feed. So there's Wednesday slides if I keep scrolling up. I shared my newsletter with my families. And then the first day of school, we made a collage with all of our first day of school pictures. So they have a couple different places that they can go. Let's go back to the journal. This is where all their work will live for the whole year. So if you're thinking about something like a grade book, if you think about the older kids and where their work is when they're finished and it's been checked by their teacher, this is where your child's, if you want to know, did my child turn something in? This is the great first place to look in their journal. Scroll through and see, was it completed? Did the teacher give them feedback? Sometimes the teacher will notice if it's multiple pages. They'll write a little comment. Sam, I noticed you did page 1, but forgot page 2 and 3. They'll send it back to the child to complete. It's really awesome that we can send it back, give them comments, and then they can resubmit it for completion. This is what we're using in TK Kinder first and second as like our grade book. It's a great place because parents can visually see not just the work in their binder, but what they've turned into us. The second place again was their activities. This is where teachers are assigning work. So their in progress work, this child doesn't have any. Their work that's done, here's their work that's complete. Oh, here's one of those ones that had a play button. So this is one of the ones I recorded for my kids. If I push the play, it's gonna, so it's playing the directions for them. That way we don't have to depend on a parent being there to read the directions for them. And then the last one is that inbox where they are going to be able to access those daily slides and also any other announcements that your child might need. So this is the great news about SeeSaw is everything's in one place. Their activities, their communication with their teacher, everything that they need. They should never really need to access their Star Academy email address. This just should link everything together for them in one place. If you are connected to SeeSaw, your child's teacher sent you an invite. If they haven't yet, bear with the teachers. They're working through a lot right now. They will send you an invite to connect you to SeeSaw. It's basically the same exact thing. It just gives you in the inbox. Let me see if I can sign out. I'm going to stop sharing that way I don't end up sharing some student information. And let me sign into a parent's account and be able to show you what it looks like from a parent's perspective for this same student. 1 second. Okay. Reshare. Okay. So for this one, okay. So this is what a parent would see if they signed in. You can also download the app. It's telling me I could download the app in the App Store. And it's SeeSaw, but it says family underneath it. So it just says SeeSaw, the same, my kids call it a bow tie, but it says family underneath it instead of class. So that would be the parents version. You can see, and this is great if you have multiple kids, a kid in TK and a kid in 2nd, or a kid in kindergarten and a kid in 1st. You can be connected to multiple kids' classrooms at the same time. So this is Sam's class. And this would be Sam's journal that I would be accessing. Now remember, you can just click your kid's iPad and open it up on theirs. You don't have to create your own parent account, but if you would like to, they also have an inbox. I started a chat with this parent just to be able to show you. I wrote a message to this parent, said, hello, I wanted to let you know Sam had a great day. And you can notice down here at the bottom, I can write a message back to the teacher. Obviously that's myself. But I can write the teacher back, and it's just between me and them. So it's like another place for an email for families. So there, you don't necessarily have to create a family account to be able to see your kids' stuff on SeeSaw. You can just take their iPad or take their Chromebook and be able to click and log in to their SeeSaw based on that. You don't need to create a family account unless you want to. I connected a lot of my families to it just because they wanted to be able to get newsletters and the slide deck. So that was their way of being connected on there. All right, I think I went over it quite quickly, but I want to take some time for questions specifically that you guys might have with either your grade level or your child's teacher that maybe you don't feel like are clear that your child's struggling on. So any questions that you have, you don't necessarily have to show your face. You can just unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, or you can type it in the chat. Any questions?
Oh, there we go.
There might not be any questions, maybe.
There's
Maybe I did such a great job.
There is a comment about it's extremely helpful to see the family account if you have 2 kids in the younger grades. The app is also helpful if you're at work and you want to check your child's progress. So more comments. Here's
Okay.
a question. Are you able to demonstrate how to upload multiple pages or images at once?
Yes, I will definitely demonstrate that. Let me log back into my student account. Thank you for asking. I know that this is a great feature. We have what's called SeeSaw for schools, or SeeSaw Plus. So we definitely have a great feature being able to update or upload multiple pages at the same time. So for this, let's say, let's see, I'm going to go back to my journal. So you can do it 2 ways. Sometimes your child's activity will come with multiple pages. So I'll give you an example of that. So an activity I assigned to my student has multiple pages already attached to it. So you notice down here on the right side, it has multiple pages already for them. It has a checklist. This is what 1st grade is using this year to make sure that we get all of the work by the end of the week. And this is a place for them to be able to take a picture of their writing each different day. So this is already set up with multiple pages. If your child needs to add another page at the bottom. There's the handy dandy add a page. Or I'm going to go back and I'm going to open a brand new one so that you can kind of see how to do it. In Journal, there's this handy dandy add button. And for kids, it's a great way to connect to their teacher. I know a lot of students last year used this video button and would send me videos of their baby sister or their new puppy or the new bike trick that they learned. And this is, although you may think as a parent a silly thing to send a teacher, but it really helps create that classroom community, especially during this time when we can't be in the classroom. So this video link is really great for them. There's the drawing link where they can add, and that's where I'm going to click right now. And on the right, you notice it just says 1 of 1. That's where you're going to click if you want to add a multiple page. So I'm just going to click it, and it's going to pop out that choice. I have 2 choices. I can either push add a page, but if there's something on here that I really liked that I wanted to duplicate, I wanted to make multiples of it, I can click 3 dots and I can duplicate the page. But for right now, I'm just going to add a page, and I could put let's put a couple pictures in there, and then I can do it on a different page. And the same works with the recording. Sometimes the teachers want to know their thinking, so they might want to have the kid talk through something. So maybe how they counted or how they would solve a math problem. They could use the microphone and record 10, 11, 12, 13. And then if I push done, it's going to record, and it's going to actually show 11, 12, 13. So it's going to show your kids' thought process. So that's another great way that they can show their teachers how they're thinking. If they want to record on the next slide, they could record. They could talk. They could pause. And then they could go to the next slide and they could keep recording. So this is if they're recording over multiple slides. Maybe in upper grades, so in 1st and 2nd grade, we're starting to get them to tell stories over multiple slides. Or if they have work that they want to tell their teacher about on multiple slides. Okay, let's see. I think that answered that question of yes.
Wondering if they're wanting to know more about, like, if you took your paper and held it up to take the picture and there were like this page and then one other page, how would that might be?
Let me grab my binder. Yeah. So if so am I, this says as Isabel, but I know it's not Isabel. It says, are you able to show how to edit a post made by a child? So is the child already submitted the work, or is it, I'm trying to clarify this one question. Is it work that the child already submitted that they need to edit after, or is it work that they are trying to take a picture of? If you can just clarify that question. But for right now, I'll show you when you're taking pictures of their own work. So when they go to take a picture, and this helps a lot with some of the families, let me go back to my math in my binder. If I'm gonna hold up my math, I'll make her hold up their picture, or they can tilt their iPad down to be able to take a picture of it. So if I have to take a picture of multiple pages, I could show this part, and then I'm gonna click that side button. Remember, that's the 1 to add another page. So maybe my teacher wanted me to attach 2 pages, the front and the back of the math. And then I'm going to hold up my paper for the next one. Oh, I didn't do this one, but maybe they want to do it in SeeSaw. They could be able to then write on here, now I can solve the problem 5 plus 3. So I could write on here if your kid is more motivated with technology. I know we're trying to steer away from that right now, but if they're more motivated by doing their work on SeeSaw, they could just take a picture of the workbook page and upload it that way. That is a fine choice too. Okay. We get a clarification. Edit work the child has submitted. If your child already submitted the work, sometimes my kids submit things and it's blank, like they forgot to do the work and they accidentally hit the green check. There's no way for you to recall it. Most of the time the parents just send me a quick email, hey, they accidentally submitted this, can you send it back? And we just push send back. So there's not a way for them to recall their work once it's been submitted to the teacher, unfortunately. Crop images, being able to crop images. I have never been able to crop an image. You can definitely turn it and you can resize it, but you cannot crop it, at least not that I've seen. So like on this picture that I was just sharing, I could make it smaller or bigger. If I wanted to put both pages of work on the same slide, you could definitely do that. But I don't think that you can crop pictures. You can upload. So back on the pictures one, they could upload if they've already taken a picture on their Chromebook or on their iPad. They could upload it from their camera roll if you want to crop it in there. So that could be an option. And don't think that there's any silly questions to ask to parents. I know that technology is really hard and we're all being thrown into it. So don't think that it's like, oh, I don't want to ask this just because like I feel silly. So feel free to ask. Also, your child's teacher is learning this. A lot of them are not super familiar with this. We're all learning at the same time. So feel free to reach out and ask questions to them too, exactly with what they're thinking of their assignments. They know it best because that's what they're assigning to their child, or to your child, their student. All right, I see another question. When an assignment is waiting for teacher approval, we have been able to go into the journal and click the 3 dots at the bottom to edit the item. Oh, thanks. I didn't even think about that. Let me go back and see if there's one that says, because I know that this child submitted something. Oh, you're right. Thank you. I don't spend much time in the child's side. So, Ian said that if you go into, oops, I'll go back. If you go into their journal, and this one, remember this one was waiting for teacher approval. He said, click the 3 dots and then edit item. So there, that gives you don't have to wait for the teacher to send it back. You can go in and edit. Thank you so much for sharing that. That really helps. Oh, then you want to click the green check so it goes back to the teacher, not deleting it. Okay. Any other questions? These are really great questions.
Allison, it looks like it might also work too, even after they've submitted it, or has approved it.
Let's see. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it does say edit item, so I could edit this item. I'm assuming that if this child decided to edit this item and push the green check, then it would just resubmit it to the teacher again for check for work. I know that first grade is using, they are starting, and I wanted to show this one other feature to you. We are going to start, oh, there we go. Uh-oh, am I deleting my kids' work? Whoops, we'll push the green check. So there's those 3 different, these 3 tabs are the most important. Your child might not have the blog tab. My students have this, we're starting to learn. It's basically like a locked kids Instagram feed that they'll start to be able to share with their friends. I had one of my students want to share a picture of them in Lake Tahoe, but this is a great way for the kids to interact on here. So this little blog one might not show up on your child's yet. It just means that the teacher hasn't activated it yet. So it's not that this class is any different, it's just that your child's teacher hasn't activated it yet. So the 3 main things that we're really focusing on right now is journal, activities, and then inbox, where they can get things.
And then Allison, there was one.
Yes, ma'am.
I said that the teacher can answer this, but maybe you'll know the answer to it. A parent downloaded the SeeSaw family app and it wants a QR code to add the child, but not the QR code of the student SeeSaw app. So the teachers can provide that, correct?
Correct, yeah. So all of the teachers will be pushing out. I did this solely so that I could be able to do this time with you guys this meeting. I created and sent out to my parents their access to it, but it is something I've encouraged the teachers to take time this weekend and go over. It's just about inputting your email, and then you'll get an email that pops up to you that says, Sam's teacher wants you to join their SeeSaw account. And then you'll just click and you'll automatically be logged in to your child's SeeSaw, and that's where you can link multiple children. But it will need to come from your child's teacher because it's a specific code and it's locked. It's very privacy based, so that way that our kids aren't sharing work and it's not being out into the public. So this is a very locked, secure app that is just for you and your child. So it will definitely need to come from their teacher. Yeah.
There was one other question. We signed in as our daughter. Should we sign out of that and wait for a parent QR code, or is it okay if they just look within their child's account?
You can definitely leave it in. You can look in your child's account. I honestly think the kid's account is a lot easier unless as a parent you need to send a message to the teacher, which you can always already do via email. I think the kid's account is way more useful because when you log into your child's account, I'll share my screen again, you can see those waiting activities. So I honestly think your child's account is a little bit more helpful than having a parent account, because you can't tell in a parent's account if they have waiting assignments, which I know that right now is something that we're definitely depending on, is for our parents to be able to see if their kid is missing an assignment, which it's still here. So this child is missing these 3 assignments. They haven't turned anything in for them. So that's why they're waiting in their activities. And as soon as they do turn them in, that's when they pop over to the journal side. So you're kind of aiming for your child to go through their activities. I would hope maybe nightly or every other night. I know in first grade, we're really using SeeSaw for 2 purposes. Wednesdays, because it's a great place for them to be able to do independent work because we can send videos in those activities. And then it's a great place for them to be able to do that independent time and then be able to document what we're doing in the class. So this checklist and what a lot of teachers are expecting their kids to turn in is not homework. We're not expecting parents to do more work with their kids. We're just asking them to turn in to document that they did the work. We're doing it in class. It's kind of like as if the teacher was walking around in the classroom and we can check the work, but we can't physically walk around and see the child's work. I honestly think if you're going to log into something, I would say let your kids stay logged in via their iPad or their Chromebook, and then be able to just check their work through there. You do not need a parent account unless you really want one.
Any other questions? It gets much easier too as you start using the program, and the kids are really good with it actually, what we saw even last year toward that last half of the year. And once they do it a couple times, they've got it. They're very self-sufficient, I would say, with technology. So a lot of
And I know
you where to find stuff and what to click on.
And I know the teachers were really working to create something that's going to be helpful as we continue distance learning. And then once we transfer to the hybrid model, we're really trying to create something, be really thoughtful of creating things. So in first grade, that checklist, that will be consistent week after week so that parents know. So first grade, kindergarten, and second grade are all trying to create something that they know will be consistent with the times, whether it be hybrid learning, whether it be distance learning, something that's consistent that the kids can become familiar with and know how to turn work in and how to do their independent work. So every Wednesday, they know that they're having to complete 2 or 3 assignments on SeeSaw. They know that they're having to do whatever the teacher's expectation is. We're trying to learn to keep it consistent, but realize that we're getting towards the end of just the first week of distance learning. And so this has been a change for us. I know that first grade, we changed a lot of our pacing. So we've done a little bit of changes with our kids, but you guys are doing awesome supporting your child's teacher. And if you have questions, they're the best place to reach out to. I'm definitely available if you have other like SeeSaw specific questions, but your child's teacher will definitely be the best bet.
So Miss Perry, we had one
Yes.
more. I think, oh, it looks like Miss Kaler typed the answer to that, but
Okay.
about
Okay.
if there was an expectation for them to take pictures of everything they've done in the binder.
There isn't the expectation of turning everything in. So we're really trying to make it manageable. We know that parents are working at home. We know that the kids are in the class. So we see them in Zoom. We see them physically doing the work. We just need something that's documenting that they're doing the work. And really, we're not asking them to turn everything in, because that if you ask 5 different assignments that we did times 24 kids, that means I have to check all of those things. So there goes my evening, right? So we're not asking for them to turn in all those things, because we really want to check and be thoughtful about what we're checking. So we think about 1 or 2 things that we really want to check and we really want to give thoughtful feedback to your child about. So we're not asking for, some parents want to know, like, why aren't we asking for all the pages that they're doing each day? One, we don't have time to check 100 plus pages every day and give thoughtful feedback. And it also would make your kids' journal feed like really long, and then you wouldn't be able to find anything. And also, we really want them, I always tell my kids, like, you don't know which one I'm going to ask you to turn in today, so I really want you to try your best on every different paper that we do. So that could be a way that you phrase it for your child if they're like not trying their best on their work. And the reason that we're doing most of the work in their binder is that was the feedback we got from crisis learning, was that the kids were on the technology a lot. So right now we're trying to balance that with the technology of, we need something turned in. So that's our SeeSaw. And the activities really help on Wednesday when they're independent while teachers are in meetings, but then also giving them that time where they can do the work in their binders.
Okay, any final questions? I see a lot of parents saying that this helped, and we'll continue to do different parent evenings where we help you work with how you can support your child at home. So it might be, I know Clever is something new to us that we're using. It could be any our program, just anything. So as we are asking for feedback, whether it's the teacher's feedback within their classroom stuff, or as a whole school, let us know what you want us to have a family night about, because we would be happy to have different staff members or other people come in and show you guys how you can best support your kids, because we're here to help you, because you're also helping us. We're not seeing your kids in person every day, so it really is a team effort. But we appreciate your time, and I am going to go ahead and stop this recording, and then it will be uploaded probably by tomorrow morning, and I'll be sending up a follow email with any resources we might also have, but you can access it at any time too. And know that you can reach out to your teachers, and they're having those weekly parent check-in meetings, or during their office hours in the afternoon. You're also welcome to ask there. And Miss Maribel in the office is also a good technology check-in person if you have questions too. All right. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you.